Get Money with Mike, man. It's my podcast, but if you watch it on YouTube, check me out every Friday, man. It's every Friday, Getting Money with Mike. In this video, on this podcast, I'm talking about how you can operate your day-to-day personal finance like a $1 trillion company, right? So I'm gonna break down how they operate their finances, what they do during certain economical times, and how you can do that with your personal finances, man. All right, so let's get into it. So, one of the things that companies do, they do share buybacks, right? And a share buyback is when the company is repurchasing their shares, right? So that's reinvesting in themselves. So how you could do that on a smaller scale, you can reinvest in yourself by getting a college degree, buying some books, getting you lawn equipment for your landscaping business. You know what I'm saying? That's how you reinvest in yourself, because that's what big time companies are doing. So they do share buybacks also to improve the confidence of their shareholders, right? So they reinvest money into themselves. Another thing companies do is they use money to buy either other companies or deploy in other areas to make them more money, right? Like when Apple came out with the AirPods, they put money into that, and they bought Beats by Dre from Dr. Dre. They deploy money into areas to make them to get them to keep making money, right? So how do you do that on a individual personal finance level? You can do that by investing in dividend companies. If you never heard of a dividend company, it's something that you can invest in a dividend company on the stock market. And dividend companies usually either companies that pay shareholders either quarterly, monthly, usually quarterly or monthly. So that's giving money back to you for invested in the company. So if you have 1,000 shares of a stock and they pay $1 per share every month, you get $1,000. You get $1,000 a month from that company. So that's how you get that money recurring, by deploying income back into yourself, using income to make more money from you by purchasing a company, aka stock, to bring money, generate money back into yourself. Buying a dividend company can also create you passive income, right? So they deploy their money in other places. They do share buybacks. Another thing these $1 trillion companies do during times of hyperinflation, they stop borrowing money. Usually companies, they borrow money when interest rates are low. They borrow money to make more money, but they also keep money tucked on the side a little bit. So when interest rates go up, they start paying down some of that debt and they stop borrowing. They start paying down some of that debt, and some of that money that they were saving, they can use still to buy other companies or invest in their company. So how do you do that on a smaller scale? Usually in personal finance versus business, it's good to borrow money for stuff in your business. Personal finance is not necessarily. You don't really want to borrow money or use your credit card to make money. It's kind of the opposite with that. You want to keep your debts low. But by saving money, it prepares you for when high inflation and times like this. If you got a little bit of money tucked and you feel like, times is crunched on you, you can't go out no more, you can't pay your bills, you real tight, you got money tucked that you've been saving while interest rates were low and you weren't spending all your money at the gas station, all your money at the grocery store. So they prepare for each and every type of economical cycle. When interest rates are low, they borrow money. When interest rates are high, they start paying off some of their debt and using some of their savings. So that's how these companies use their cash flow, right? But another way these companies minimize cash is during times of hyperinflation, like right now, they cut costs. If you look on the news right now, you see a lot of people are losing their jobs. Google's firing 20 million people. Apple's firing 30 million people. You're going to see a whole bunch of advertisements or articles about these companies doing layoffs. What they're doing is they're minimizing costs. So how do you do that on an individual level? You pay off your credit cards. You pay off your car. You know what I'm saying? If you got to work an extra job or two, then do it. But it'll prepare you for the next time that this cycle comes around, because hyperinflation is nothing new. It's happened before. It's actually happened worse in other cases. So it's going to come back around at another time. So you always got to be prepared for everything, right? So by cutting costs, you got to look at, take a look at all your subscriptions. While this time of hyperinflation, am I going to need Disney Plus when I just really watch Netflix and Tubi? Keep Netflix and Tubi, and HBO and Showtime got to go, at least until times get better and interest rates are lower and you can, you pay less on groceries, less on gas, so on and so forth. So they keep money tucked to the side. They invest in themselves. They buy shares of their company, and they also buy other companies or deploy money into other areas, right? So these are things that these trillion-dollar companies are doing that you can actually learn from. Learn from these companies, pay attention to them, and you can actually do these things in your personal finance. So let's get into some more things. So they closely monitor their CEO, right? They have other staffs, these trillion-dollar companies. They closely monitor the CEO. They have other people input, other people's talent. How do you do that in your personal finance? Well, you can have a financial advisor, or you can have a spreadsheet, but you have to track yourself as a CEO of your own personal finance. You have to track that. You got to see, because you could go and spend money at Starbucks every morning and be like, I don't really spend a lot of money like that. And you go and like in 6 months, you spending like $400. You know what I'm saying? That $400 could have been the car repair at that 6-month point. So you really got to review your finances, check your subscriptions in your iPhone, check your subscriptions with your streaming services. We got too many subscriptions out here, so don't let the subscriptions make you skip a meal. You know what I'm saying? So let me think of what else. I'm really freestyling off the top of the dome today, y'all, but I want y'all to be able to allocate your money the way these trillion-dollar companies are doing it, so that way you don't have to struggle. You know what I'm saying? I try to give y'all the juice on my podcast and all of that. So let me see if I can think anything else. If I can't, I'll just close out. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it, man. These companies are saving for hyperinflation or for a rainy day. They're borrowing when interest rates are low and paying the debts back when interest rates are high, and also using their savings to still give money put money towards the company, right? So what you need to be doing, you need to be saving money. You need to be reinvesting in yourself. You need to be cutting costs. You need to be investing, you know what I'm saying, buying back shares, buy back shares in the companies that you use every day. I use Apple. Everything in my house is Apple, so I have Apple shares. I shop on Amazon on a regular basis, so I have Amazon shares. I use Google 17,000 times a day, so I definitely have Google shares. Reinvest into yourself, just like these trillion-dollar companies do, man. I'm Mike the Money Motivator, man. Y'all either like or subscribe or check out my podcast next week.